Hey, we have some things to talk about. Okay, you guys, you know I have to start this video out with a little bit of gloating, a little bit of I told you so. Look at what just happened. I have been talking about this since the beginning. This story is about death and resurrection. It is about creation from destruction. We just watched somebody die and come back to life. Wow. Anyway, we just watched Tyler being completely taken over by the bishops to the point that the blurry face paint was creeping from his neck all the way down the shoulders and chest of his shirt. He died, and then, just like that, he's resuscitated with a giant grin on his face. It's like watching Keon's die and be brought back to life all over again. But this wasn't Keon's. This was Tyler's body. Only he wasn't in possession. Blurryface was. And if Blurryface is a conglomeration of all the bishops into one, that means we watched all the bishops die during Heavy Dirty Soul, the same way they were beat up during the live stream. And then, bam, the body is back to life. The last time we saw a body come back to life like that, the person who was in control wasn't the bishop from before. No, it was Tyler. So, essentially, we just watched Tyler take over control from every one of the bishops. Back in control, no Mashadi takes on a whole new meaning. First, in the Icy Tour, we had the Message Man ritual and watched Blurryface take over. Now, we have a new ritual, one kind of like what we saw in the Outside. Do you guys remember me talking about all the times we've seen Tyler cover his eyes and shake his head? Well, guess what happened before the death and rebirth we just saw? That's right, he did it again. This time while singing I Plan My Escape during Chlorine. When he's covering his eyes, shaking his head, is that us seeing the real Tyler on the inside trying to get out? Is he being held back by covering his eyes? We have so much to unpack here, and this is just the beginning. We are going to get so many hints. We are edging closer and closer to that destruction which becomes creation, that death that becomes a birth. Just like the caterpillar dies and morphs to become the butterfly, Tyler, Clancy, the people of Dema are all meeting a point of destruction in order to finally escape the hell of mental illness and start on the new path. Just like the logo shows us two paths, with the third allowing one to cross from one to the other, we are seeing the obstacles in the middle being destroyed to allow a crossing over from the current timeline and cycle we've been stuck in to the next. I think it's fair to say that what is coming next is not going to be easy or fun to watch. The fact of the matter is, like I've been saying for a long time now, the only way we are going to get this creation, this new life, is through destruction, through death. The bishops are going to die. Dema is going to be destroyed. But a great sacrifice is going to have to happen in turn. Whether it's in Tyler or in Clancy, we have a Christ figure in this story. Now, obviously Clancy is the fictional character capable of death in this situation. But we've already seen him die in a sort of way. We've already gotten the message that he's dead, or at least that he is going to die. But even so, as a Christ figure, he will also need to come again. So, it will be worth that loss that a lot of us have been in denial of. But Christ didn't just die and come back to life in the Christian story. When he resurrected, it wasn't long before he went up to heaven and he was gone for good. Since we've seen Clancy's death, and we've seen him come back now too, that only leaves one part of the story left to see. Clancy is going to leave. I know I told you guys he represents hope in this story, and obviously we don't want hope to leave for good. But the thing is that Clancy specifically was hope in the midst of darkness and oppression. Now that darkness and oppression is being destroyed, so where does that leave Clancy? Hard truth. We don't need him. We don't need that character to hope anymore. When he sacrificed or sacrifices himself in the future, he knew it too. We don't need Clancy in the midst of a darkness that has been destroyed. No. Instead, we have created a new hope, one that we are in control of, one we don't need to rely on anyone else to have. Clancy has given that power to each of us as individuals. He leaves a lot, it's true. This time, we're all leaving the city, and we're leaving the remnants of that cycle we destroyed behind. Tyler created that world to feel some control, and now he doesn't need it anymore. Those letters, those albums, are always going to be around for us. We will always be able to use them, and we will always have Clancy. But Tyler doesn't need that anymore, at least not all the time. And someday, neither will we. That's just the curse of Clancy's character. He was never created to exist forever. He was always going to be the sacrificial lamb, and when his sacrifice was over, he would have a better place to go. Clancy is going to become something greater, something transfigured, just like I talked about before. He isn't going to be hope in the midst of darkness anymore. No, he's going to be the hope that always exists in our hearts, no matter if we are in Dema or Trench or beyond. That's the fulfillment of our Christ figure, a transfigured, better version of hope. Just like the butterfly, it's a caterpillar that all it can do is crawl. And then, eventually, it's transfigured and it can fly.